So today I'm outside the shop where I do some of the work that I'm doing, and they got some stuff going on in there. Music playing, so I figured I'd do it outside. It's not too bad out, a little bit quieter. But this morning I made a junkyard trip with Mark Mercier to 109 U-Pole in Winston, and came up with a Freedom Designs mid-wing. It's actually in fairly good shape. The fiberglass is just slightly kind of cracked there, but I'm doing that, save that for a later date. If I ever end up building some sort of golf, I got a few other parts. I believe this is a replica Audinger grill, Odinger, however you want to say it, but it doesn't seem to have any markings, but figured I might as well pick it up for how cheap it was. And then I've been looking for a Bonras Speedwing for a while, but I really didn't want to mold a legitimate one into this hood because that's the plan that I have going on. So there was a local guy that had a replica Speedwing. It's just out of fiberglass, and I'll end up molding it. I'll kind of give you a little bit more detail, but it'll go on the back side of the hood. I'll show a little bit more there. But the main project today is going to be removing the back portion of the braces and then cutting out the actual center of the hood that I want to do. After that, I might do a little bit of removal of some door inserts that I got as well to be able to take to the upholstery guy, but we'll get started with what we got going on today. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do to be able to remove the bracing is I'm going to go in with a scraper, anything sharp you got, and I'm going to come in and try to remove the adhesive. That way I can cut it, pry it up, just to mainly get this center triangle out of it. So I'll do that, and once I get that loose, I will come back and kind of show you what I'm going to do to cut it. I've got some hand snips I'll use, and we'll be able to get that off and flip it back over and cut out the hole. A little bit of trial and error. I found it was easier to use a pry bar, and you kind of have to hammer it under it, and then you can pry it up because I'm not keeping the center. It really doesn't matter. So it makes it a little bit easier. If you were to probably heat up the tip of the scraper, it'd probably kind of cut and heat up the adhesive a little bit, but I'm not worried about saving it, so I'm just kind of hammering it in and prying it up. So I've got it all pried up. My cutout line is roughly kind of almost falls along here, and then it's about here in the front. So I'm gonna kind of just cut it back, kind of get it out of the way, so it's a little bit easier when I go to cut it out. Just got some left and right hand sheet metal shears. Come through. The main reason that I cut out the brace was because the last one that I cut out, I think it was just because I had it too close to the front and the rear. It was back in to here, and then this one kind of got back into this bracing. It caused me some trouble. I don't know that it's completely necessary that I cut it out. It looks jagged, but it was just really to get it out of the way, so that way it wouldn't be holding me up in any way. So I'll go ahead and flip it over, and then I've got an air saw I'm going to use to cut everything out. First I'll drill a hole, and then I'll start cutting it with the air saw. So the sides are pretty easy. You get a straight line, you can kind of lay it flat. As you make a corner, you have to kind of stand it up, so that way you can round around the edge. I am glad that I cut the rear bracing out, because as I finished cutting, it was able to fall all the way through. Last time I had to go back on the other side and cut more of the bracing out, but you can see some of the little pieces cut a little bit as I was cutting through, but they fell out. Gonna go around. Air saw is definitely nice for when cutting sheet metal stuff out like this. I can finish up some different edges on it. Obviously it's going to have metal put in it, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll flip it around. Obviously the dents where I pried against it don't matter because I'm not using that piece. So the back side, you can tell where I had cut it back. It's pretty close. I'm gonna probably eventually come in and try to make this panel go down to it and look nicer, because when I do the flange up to be able to have the depth and then add plexi, I also still want the bottom side to look good too. I don't want it to look haggard, so I'll probably come in here and trim this back pretty uniform so it'll have a nice edge around as well, but not sure exactly what I'm gonna do. Haven't got that far yet, but I'm gonna flip it over, pull the tape. Doesn't look bad at all. I'm real glad that I did the changes that I did, because the other one came back in almost to the latch. It was 2 inches back, and then it came back into here. It was another inch back, so it got into this bracing, which I wanted all of that and all of this bracing as well, which the 2 inches will also cover the core support when you're looking straight down at it. But I got it all flipped over, and the speed wing just taped in place. You can kind of see it on the back of the hood. As this comes out, obviously these things always kind of went a little bit further. I don't have it perfectly centered. It needs shifted left a little bit. But what I'll end up probably doing is when I mold this, I'll have this come and taper closer to the tip of the hood, so that way it's more structurally sound. There's no excess that's molded that can potentially break off. It'll just be a little bit safer, and I feel like it'll flow a little bit better. We'll see what I end up doing. Once it's molded, then I can shape it. But that's all I've got to do today on the hood. I'm gonna go in and mess with the door cards a little bit and continue from there. So I'm about wrapped up for today. I'm gonna send some pictures of these to my upholstery guy, see if this one can be salvaged and actually used. The other 3 look good. They'll be able to be reused. And then I've got the hood cut out. I'm gonna work on doing the flange work. I've got it in the back of the car, take back to my house for now. But we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys updated. Might have a few little projects between now and then, but thanks for watching, guys.